While Tara and Sheppard are having a talk at the Espresso Pump, Warren Mears makes his move to hurt Buffy by targeting Dawn. Hey everyone, this is TH Stories 80 where we narrate fanfiction audiobooks. Now we begin Chapter 6 of Tara Sheppard. Let's dive in. The Magic Box, 16:35 hours. Warren hid out in the store opposite the Magic Box for a few more minutes after Buffy, Willow, and Xander left in Buffy's jeep. He wanted to be absolutely sure they wouldn't return and spoil his revenge on Buffy for ruining his plans and humiliating him. He remembered having the Slayer on the ropes thanks to the magical orbs that had enhanced his strength to Slayer levels. But Buffy had managed to destroy the orbs with what he still believed was a lucky shot. And then she beat him publicly in front of Jonathan and Andrew. "I'm not going to take that lying down, bitch," Warren thought as he looked around at the empty store and at the owner who currently had his back turned. Smiling, Warren pulled the gun from the pocket of his black jacket, inspected it, and then slipped it back in. His gaze narrowed toward the magic box. "You humiliated me, and now? Now you'll pay. I'll get your family and friends. Hell, even that new blonde. What's her name? Oh, Tara. I'll save her for last. First though, bye-bye, little sister." Heading to the door, Warren pushed it open, ringing the electronic chime. The owner turned around and thanked him for coming. Warren waved with his free hand as he walked out and stepped onto the pavement. His focus locked on the magic box. He took a deep breath, the warmth of the afternoon air mixed with the thrill running through him. He imagined pulling the trigger, imagined Dawn lying on the floor of the magic box in a pool of blood flowing from the wound in her chest. Trembling with excitement, he began walking slowly, keeping his back toward the espresso pump behind him. Meanwhile, in the magic box, both Anya and Dawn worked in tense silence. Dawn was angry at Anya for cheating on Xander with Spike, and Anya was angry with everyone. She had been the one humiliated and left at the altar by the man she was supposed to marry, and everyone had taken Xander's side. She was cashing out a customer who had just bought a laughing Buddha statue and then glanced at Dawn, who was glaring at her while arranging spellbooks near the round table where Willow had been sitting earlier. "You know," Dawn said over her shoulder after the customer left, "Xander felt bad about leaving you at the altar and—" "He did it anyway, Dawn," Anya interrupted as she walked around the counter and began fixing the statues and crystal balls the customer had examined earlier. "He did it anyway. And then, when I was left lonely and alone after all of you took his side, and Spike was there. It was something that happened and you know what? None of you has any right to say what I did or didn't do was wrong. Xander didn't want to marry me. He threw everything away for what? Nothing. Absolutely nothing." "You can be a bitch sometimes, Anya," Dawn shot back as she turned around, glaring at the former vengeance demon. "You know what? I don't think you ever loved him. All you talk about is sex this or sex that. That's it. You're nuts. Shallow. You say the dumbest things at the most inappropriate times and—" "Get out," Anya shouted, pointing at the door. "Get out and stay out. Same goes for Buffy, Willow, and Xander. Out of all of you, the only one who hasn't judged me is Tara. That's it. Only one of you has never judged me. Giles left me this place. To me, that means he trusts that I won't—" "He left it to you?" Dawn laughed as she stepped toward her. "He left it to you because he knew we'd be here looking after the place. If we weren't here, do you really think he'd be insane enough to leave everything to you?" "I had a chance to get my powers back," Anya said, her voice cracking. "But you know what? I refused. I thought maybe Xander would come to his senses and we could have the life I wanted and— I love him and—" "The life you wanted," Dawn snapped, pointing at her. "You. It's always about you. Oh, I forgot. You're also selfish. I told you to get out, Dawn. Xander told you to look after me and—" "I'm tired, Dawn," Anya said, turning back to the shelves. "Please, just leave. Go home. Call a cab if you want. When you reach home, stay away from the windows, lock the doors. But I don't want to look after you. I don't answer to Buffy, Willow, or even Xander. I'm just tired. Anya, Dawn started, stepping toward her in anger when the door chime suddenly rang. The sound cut through the tension. Dawn stopped mid-step. Both she and Anya turned toward the entrance. Anya froze as she recognized Warren, or at least the man she thought was Warren from the photo Willow had shown them on her computer. He walked into the magic box, and everything seemed to slow down for Anya. She saw him reach into his pocket and pull out a handgun. He pointed it at her, then at Dawn. Her heartbeat pounded so loudly she couldn't hear anything else, not even the words Warren's mouth was forming. She glanced at Dawn, only a few steps away, then back at Warren. She saw his finger tightening on the trigger. Acting on instinct, Anya lunged forward, grabbing Dawn and pulling her behind herself just as 2 shots rang out. "Close your," was all Anya managed to say before a sharp sting tore through her back. A second sting followed, and everything went dark. "Anya?" Dawn whispered, staring up at the hole in Anya's forehead, blood pouring out in a steady stream. She even felt droplets hit her cheeks from where the bullet had exited. "Anya?" Anya's eyes were still open as her lifeless body slumped fully into Dawn's arms, blood smearing across the brunette's shirt. "Anya, I'm sorry. Wake up. Wake up." Dawn screamed as Warren rushed forward, grabbed Anya's body by the neck, and yanked her violently off Dawn before throwing her aside. Dawn looked up at Warren through tears, her grief twisting into raw rage. "You should blame yourself," Warren said coldly, aiming the weapon at her head. "Now you, and then the Slayer." Espresso Pump, a moment earlier. Sheppard and Tara continued talking about each other's life stories, with him deliberately leaving out everything that had happened on Atlantis. Instead, he talked about one of his men who had gotten hooked on a drug they found while they were lost, and how, instead of returning with them, the man had run away. "We searched for him everywhere," Sheppard recounted as he remembered Lieutenant Ford leaving through the Stargate after becoming dependent on Wraith enzymes. Atlantis had nearly run out of the substance, so Ford had taken what remained and then stolen a puddle jumper before fleeing the city. "But we're planning to go back and find him. Maybe then we can figure out how to get him off the drug and bring him home." "I see," murmured Tara. She still sensed the Major was hiding something, but she also recognized the genuine concern in his voice. "So your team found a place with a lot of medicinal plants?" "You could say that," the Major replied. "We're bringing more scientists this time, so they can run tests and..." He suddenly stopped and glanced sharply to his right. A familiar sense of dread washed over him, the same sensation he'd felt when first meeting both Tara and Willow. This time it was stronger. He noticed Tara looking in the same direction. "Tara," John warned as he stood abruptly. "Stay here." "The magic box," whispered Tara, eyes fixed on the shop's entrance as the door closed. She couldn't see who had gone in, only that someone had. "Stay here," the Major repeated before sprinting away. Tara watched him race down the pavement, then shook her head and stood, running after him. Sheppard didn't know whether Tara was behind him or not. All he knew was that something was happening, something he couldn't explain, something that had been hovering around him ever since he arrived in the city. Sprinting toward the magic box, he recalled Daniel's briefings on the Ancients before his departure to Atlantis. Daniel had explained that the Ancients were more evolved than ordinary humans, and that some had developed abilities as a result of that evolution. He'd even cited General O'Neill, who possessed the ancient gene and had healed significant injuries after the ancient repository had been downloaded into his mind. He didn't have it for long though, the Major thought as he reached the magic box. He pushed the door open and froze. A woman's body lay in a pool of blood, and a man turned toward him, pressing a gun to Dawn's head. Dawn shouted that he had killed Anya. "Anya must be the dead woman," the Major noted grimly. His gaze snapped to the gun, and instinctively he wished the man didn't have a weapon. To his shock, mirrored by Dawn and Warren, the gun flew out of Warren's hand and skidded behind the counter. The young man spun and bolted toward it, but Sheppard lunged forward. He tackled Warren to the floor just before the killer reached the counter. Sheppard tried to pin him down as Warren thrashed violently beneath him. "Stay down," the Major barked, pressing his arm against Warren's neck as the young man kicked and struggled. "I said stay down." "I'll kill them all," Warren snarled. Sheppard glared at him as Warren continued, "I'll kill the sister, and the Slayer, and then the witch, and then the idiot, and then... Warren's eyes shifted toward the entrance behind Sheppard. John glanced back over his shoulder and saw Tara standing there, hands covering her mouth in horror as Dawn knelt beside Anya's body, sobbing uncontrollably. Tara's wide, shocked eyes met his. "And then I'll kill her," Warren hissed, staring at Tara again. He then looked up at the Major, voice twisting into something cruel. "I'll make her my slave first. Might as well enjoy the bitch before I kill her." The Major's expression went cold. He pushed harder on Warren's throat and drew back his fist. "John, no!" Tara cried as she knelt beside Dawn, who was still holding Anya. They watched Sheppard punch Warren. "Kill him," Dawn choked out, glaring at Warren as Sheppard drew back for another punch. As Warren finally went quiet after the second punch, Dawn gently placed Anya's body into Tara's arms and scrambled to her feet. With blood dripping from her hands, she hurried behind the counter, picked up the gun, and aimed it at Warren's head with trembling hands. "John, it's Dawn!" Tara shouted, horrified. Sheppard paused mid-swing, then looked over his shoulder. Dawn stood to his right, the gun shaking in her grip as she stepped closer to Warren. John lowered his fist and slowly rose to his feet, positioning himself between Dawn and the unconscious, but still alive, man. Earlier, Tara had magically contacted Willow the moment she entered the shop and saw Anya's body, urging her to return immediately without explaining further. Now she was desperately trying to stop her brother from killing Warren. She had heard Warren's threats, heard what he wanted to do to her friends, what he wanted to do to her. She had seen the darkness flare in John's eyes when he struck Warren a couple of times, and then saw him tense again when Dawn lifted the gun. Now, Sheppard stood between them, speaking softly to Dawn as she sobbed and insisted that Warren deserved to die. Tara looked down at Anya's still form and knew her soul was gone. No spell, no magic, no power could bring her back. Dawn was crying, with Sheppard talking her down, telling her that if she killed Warren, she would become just like him. He reiterated that Warren needs to face justice. She sobbed while handing Sheppard the gun. Tara gently closed Anya's eyelids before Dawn rushed back to cradle her. Looking at Sheppard, Tara sensed something shift in him. A dark aura clung to him as he clenched his fist, and she silently prayed that he wouldn't kill Warren. Moments later, she watched him engage the gun's safety and set it atop the nearby counter. Tara finally exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Dawn looked at her with devastated, bloodshot eyes. Tara hugged her as they held Anya between them. She glanced back at Sheppard, who stared down at Warren's unconscious form before turning to meet her gaze. Something in his eyes has changed. He's more calm, Tara thought before nodding when John approached. Kneeling beside them, he told them he would try to revive Anya, like how he had pulled the bullet from Buffy after she was shot. Tara immediately shook her head. "She's gone," Tara whispered through her tears, while Dawn repeated apologies over and over. She doesn't have any life." "Still worth a try," the Major murmured as he placed both hands over Anya's wounds and concentrated. Nothing happened. He concentrated again, then a third time, but the result was always the same. "I'm sorry." He told them he would call the police and have someone come for Anya's body. Tara sat beside Dawn as he rushed to the phone. Just as he began the call, they all heard a car screech to a halt outside. The door opened and Xander, Buffy and Willow rushed in, their eyes widened at the sight before them. Willow immediately grabbed Xander as he staggered, then pulled him into a hug, with Buffy joining them. Willow hurried to Tara and clutched her hand while Buffy stayed with Dawn. Xander moved to Anya's body. He dropped to his knees. Tara gently placed Anya in his arms. His eyes immediately filled with tears. "An?" he whispered, brushing her cheek. "An?" To be continued.